Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome on back to the Anchorage, and we are not doing any particular project today. Today is just a vlog, so we're just gonna be doing that. So, what have I been doing? Not a whole lot. A few things have gone on, so why don't we talk about that a little bit, and I'll let you know what's going on. Well, first off is just a little bit of a techie piece is regarding my Raspberry Pi cluster. It's a cluster case, but they're operating separately. It's got 4 in there, but only 2 are being used right now. The other 2 are in there and just sitting comfortably until I have a need for them or want to do something with them, play around, whatever. But the issue that I had, or that I have, is regarding the networking, more so the cables, the networking cables. They are fed directly into the router. So, and what I would like to do is to actually have a dedicated network switch for them, and basically a 5-port. So 4 ports for the Raspberries themselves, and then 1 port to feed out to the router. So I actually went out and I bought a D-Link, and I've got it right here, and here it is. Yeah, you can see it's got 5 ports on there, but so I use 4 of them for the Raspberries, and then 1 going to the router itself. So I've got it here, and I've got this little Battlestar-y kind of thing, since I'm a fan of Battlestar. They have these access ways throughout the Battlestar. All Battlestars have these, and they happen to use a stupid term called a causeway. So, and it's been causeways have been referenced at least in 1 episode that I can think of off the top of my head. And so I figured in my home networking, why don't I call my network switches causeways? Because I've got this one, there's another one in the tank, there's another one that goes out to the TV, and to also, that one also serves a dedicated miscellaneous cable for whenever I need to run a laptop or something here on the desk. And I also have the primary switch, which is 8 ports, which is off to the side behind everything. So I've got 1, 2, 3. This will make 4 network switches on my network, so it's getting pretty big. So we've got causeway A, B, C, and D: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, and Delta. This is causeway C. Actually, thinking about it, this is actually going to be causeway D, because I hadn't thought about it, and decided after the fact that the switch that's in the tank is going to be causeway C. So this one is going to be causeway D, or Delta for that matter. So I get that going, and I'm not on any particular time frame or anything to get that done. So it gets done when it gets done. So there we go. And let's see. Another little techie piece is a year ago this month, an acquaintance of mine that dates back to just after high school days, that I've known this gentleman. He happened to pass away a year ago this month, and so friends with his wife, and kind of helping out a little bit with rides, and a couple of rides, and some other things that she needed and stuff like that. Most of them really kind of involving post-death stuff. It's it's one of those unnecessary evils that we have to go through as citizens of the country, and paperwork, beneficiary stuff, everything like that. I helped out with all of that. Mainly just needed to print it because she doesn't have a printer and they never did. And I do have one right here that I've had since 2011, and you know, help that out, stuff like that. And she moved back in November, so like 5 months ago. She moved from where she was living to a new home, and because she felt it necessary, and I agreed, and she asked for some help in some respect on helping moving some stuff. Now, myself, with my brain issues, I can't do a lot of heavy lifting. I can't do a lot of physical work outside of 5 to 10 minutes. So sometimes even less, depending on how much I'm talking. So I told her I could provide transportation for said goods, for things that needed to be moved. And so when I went to help out, to use that, because, you know, I've got a Mazda MX-5, or Mazda 5, excuse me, MX-5, MX, what the hell? Anyways, so I'm just like, yeah, I've got the 5. You can load it up with whatever, and I will transport that to your new home for you and everything like that. And which she appreciated. And so I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I just can't really do a lot of heavy lifting. I can move light stuff, a few runs. It was all of like 30 feet. But her husband was very tech savvy, and granted, it was heavy on Windows, but that's neither here nor there. But we were going through, and she just had a pile of all of the tech stuff in the middle of the living room. You name it: cords, power supplies, power strips, not supplies, but strips. You know, cables up the walls. It was, everything you can think of. And there was even a monitor there. And regarding that monitor, it was a 27-inch, and it was HDMI and DisplayPort. And I asked her if what she was intending to do with it, and she said, I'm just going to be throwing it out. And I'm just like, but it's still good, right? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, why don't I take that? I could find a use for that. I used it and decided I really can't use it for the particular thing I would like to, because I've got my KVM switch on this machine and Solaria. It's not all that great. And through another acquaintance, through a relative, one that's living here, he saw this thing and fell in love with it. And I'm like, I'm like, if you have something, I'm willing to trade. And so the monitor that's right there was his. And so I traded, and it's working out great for me. And this is a 24-inch, and works out fantastic for me. And he's got that 27-inch, and it's working great for him. And so that's great, stuff like that. However, there were 2 computers that were stuffed in a closet because they weren't being used anymore. And so I asked, I'm like, what are you planning to do with these? She goes, oh, I'm just going to throw them out. And I'm like, you know, for the sake of the hard drives and the data that's on those hard drives, I would feel much more comfortable if I was to say, take those, and I could properly wipe those drives. And ultimately, she agreed, and we went ahead, and I had those 2 machines put into the Mazda, which I nicknamed Raptor because of Battlestar. And because it's a multi-purpose vehicle. You know, I give rides to a neighbor, and who's a good friend, and oh, let's see what else. You know, the 5 is like a touring vehicle. It's got 3 rows of seats. You know, so some people will say it's a minivan, but it's technically not. It's a touring something. So it's essentially just a big stinking car, kind of like a station wagon almost. For people who don't know what station wagons were, they were big cars with you know, 2 rows of seats, and then you had a third in the back in the trunk that faced backwards. And they were used for many different things. It was kind of like, you know, the multi-purpose used vehicle for households for decades. And, you know, those as themselves have more or less disappeared, being replaced by mini SUVs, things of the sort. So I named it the Raptor because it's multi-purpose. So I use it to haul cargo all the time. For, you know, for different people as favors. So they're like, hey, can you take this over here or over there or whatever? I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever. So I do that. So so right now I've got the first 2 rows of seats in seat mode, more or less. I'll call it that. The seats are up and everything. You know, driver seat, passenger seat are always up. So the middle is up right now, and that 3rd row has been, the back's been down, and they've been down and closed for years, a few years at this point. I have to shampoo the inside of the vehicle, which I'm probably going to be doing next month after weather gets up. So we loaded everything up, and I brought it to a new home, and everything was all great and everything like that. I brought those machines back here to wipe those drives, and you know, and I was thinking about them, and one of them, I have a relative that lives at the other end of the building, surprisingly, that I'm thinking about offering as a replacement to a computer that I had bought back in 08 and gave it to him in like 12, 13, yeah, right around 12, 13-ish. And he's had it for 10 years, and it runs Windows Vista on the thing, you know, and it runs fine. But this one here, one of these 2 that I took, runs Windows 7 on it, and you know, I'm considering you know, factory restoring it essentially, and getting it all. I mean, it is dusty up the wazoo. It is dirty. It needs to be cleaned, and I was going to give it a, you know, more or less a full cleaning, a full refurbishing of sorts, and giving it to him, and archiving the drive, so, and keeping that in cold storage. The other machine, it's got a Xeon processor in the thing, and I've talked about it before. But it's a Dell T3500 Xeon processor, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, this thing's a server box, and it used to be a business machine because it's got one of those business property stickers on it, somewhat torn off. So my acquaintance probably had obtained it from a past employer or something years ago. But nevertheless, I have it, and I'm like, do I just want to just wipe the drive and dispose of it, or do I want to use it? Well, it's a Xeon. The thing's a server box. I might have a purpose for that. And yeah, it's a really good unit, and I'd like to look it over and try to decide what I can do with it, use it for. You know, use it as a server, probably. Throw on Open Media Vault, possibly. Maybe even upgrade the hard drive off of being a hard drive and putting in an SSD. I don't know. I'm looking for suggestions. Anybody with suggestions can go ahead and throw it down below. I'd appreciate that. or you can come out on social media and throw me some words out there. Got links to all that down below. Yeah, it's I have it in its eventual home, which is right off to the side here. And, you know, I'll be talking about that and kind of like melding into the next story at the same time. So why don't we look at that? So as part of the next story, we'll talk about this guy. This is the futon. And, you know, I've got a top, like a bedding top sheet on there right now. That's the green thing. It's silky on one side, Egyptian cotton on the other. So I've got the silky side up, comfort, you know. And I got the throw blanket there. And, of course, I got a couple of throw pillows on the end. Now, I had bought this years ago. You know, it basically became a guest bed of sorts out here in my living room because I have a couch, which is that one you see right there. That's the one I do videos from typically, but now I can do videos from here. And who knows, I might finish this one off from here, or I might do it up there because that's where you can see where I've got the video. You can kind of see me sitting there. That's where I'm filming this. And yeah, so this is no longer needed as a guest bed, so it's all folded up, got all cleaned up, and it got put into place to open up all the floor space because, you know, there's my patio that I do some painting and stuff and some projects. And, you know, I've got all this floor space back. And if we look over here, there's that XEON box. So that's its new home as far as the location goes. And that's where it'll be. And so that's going to sit there. And, you know, I'm not in any rush to get anything done to it or anything like that. So I'm going to let that sit there. And, yeah. All right, let's go back up and have a seat at the computer. So let's go back up here. Okay, so there you go. Yee. Anyways, so there's the futons. That's right there. I've got that box down below, and to follow with my naming scheme regarding computers and stuff like that. You know, if it's going to be used, whether it be a daily driver or a special use kind of thing, special purpose, those get names of actual battle stars. So, so this computer, being a server box, it'll probably remain as a server box. So it can't. I basically decided it can't necessarily have a name of a battle star because it's not going to be commonly used as a desktop computer. It's going to be, if anything, it's going to be used as a server or similar service box of sorts. So I have decided to give it the name Kobol, K-O-B-O-L, Kobol, which is the home planet of all of the colonies of Kobol. You know, that would be, let's say, like your planets, Caprica, Arelon, Pycon, and 9 others. I don't have them all memorized. I have a few, but I don't have a list in front of me either. So there you go. So that's going to be named Kobol. Am I going to leave it as it is cosmetically? And no, actually, something I'm definitely going to be doing with it is I'm going to be, you know, obviously cleaning it up, reconditioning it of sorts, and then I'm going to give it a new cosmetic look using the colors of the home, which are basically kind of like an olive drab or forest green, and like a coffee bean kind of color, you know, a dark brown, ish. You know, darker than your typical brown. You know, a few shades darker. So that'll get that kind of a paint job. Now, do I want green on brown or brown on green? That I haven't decided on yet. I've got time, so who knows? So those are those two stories. So there's that server box, and there's that futon, and what I've done with it, and I don't know what other things I could do with that futon. I'll probably make some videos and, you know, sit there for some videos or whatever. Use it to display things, place them, film them, whatever. I might actually do the Buster Quest video regarding the unboxing of the ghost trap that's going to be coming in the fall. You know, that kind of leads into my final story. Okay, I went and I saw Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So I did that a week ago. Yeah, about a week ago. I was gonna do filming of different things. I was gonna, you know, I filmed myself as I was heading in, stuff like that. Did a quick little thing inside the theater and was going to come back and talk about it afterwards. So I'm saving that part for after I show you that little piece of video. So why don't we see that real quick, and we'll come back and follow up from after watching it. And I'm going to go see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So I'm going to be doing that. Now, I saw the original Ghostbusters 1984 in the theater, and I also saw Ghostbusters 2. Wasn't all that thrilled with it. Still am not. I didn't get to see Afterlife in the theater. I just couldn't get it together to make time for it and stuff like that. And I also missed my opportunity in order to jump in on that. However, this is Frozen Empire, and I am going to be going. So I'm going to check it out, and I'm going to let everybody know how it goes. Let's see. It's at an AMC, and they have a special popcorn bucket of sorts that uses a trap. So I'm going to take a look, see if that's there, and we'll take a look, and maybe I'll have more to show or say about. I have no idea. I'm about 4 hours before I go, and they have you had to reserve seats and stuff like that. So I've got my ticket, as it were, and there we go. So yeah, let's see what's going on. All right, well, I've arrived, and I'm at the theater. I am no longer in New Hampshire. I had to come down into Massachusetts, unfortunately. So, but it's because I want to spoil myself. So that's what I'm doing. If I can take in the video inside, I will. Otherwise, I'm not going to worry about it. I'll catch you on the other side, one way or the other. So why don't we go take a look at that?
Movie starts now.
All right, so I watched the film, and I enjoyed it a lot. It was really, really good. I totally recommend people go see it while it's still in theaters. It was #1 that week, opening weekend, possibly the second weekend. I can't remember for sure. I wasn't tracking it, but I do know that now that we're on the third weekend, it's fallen to, if going into the weekend, it felt to like third place because of other films, obviously. So, but the income numbers are looking really good. Ticket sales numbers are looking really good. And of course, compared to like 30, 40 years ago, it's a far cry different. But we shouldn't be talking about total value in sales. We shouldn't count those. We should be counting the number of tickets sold. And moving off of the money side, the money totals, move off of those, move off the ticket counts. Just because it's just, 100 million today, a billion tomorrow, whatever. But about the film, this is not a spoiler review or anything like that. There's no spoilers and stuff like that. I very much enjoyed the film. And one of the main points that I wanted to see as far as the production went was that the format that it followed be done in a particular way. And that way was followed. And that's how it was done. And I was very satisfied with that. And I love it. It's got lots of funnies. It's got scaries, and it's a fun family film, and yeah, it is PG-13, I believe, but even still, I think Afterlife was as well. I can't be sure. I remember when I went to the concession stand, I asked the guy pretty much right off the bat. I know it's been a couple of weeks, so I expect the answer to be no. But would you happen to have any more of those special AMC Ghostbusters trap buckets? And he said, no, I don't have any here, so I think we're all out. And I'm like, that's fine, don't worry about it. I kind of expected it. It's been 2 weeks because it was a week ago today, because I'm filming this on a Saturday, so this is going to be released today as a SatterQuest, but it's under the VLOGQuest titling. So it's essentially SatterQuest. So, it had been 2 weeks. I wasn't going to worry about that, about a special trap popcorn bucket, because I'm a backer of the campaign for the Hasbro Pulse HasLab Ghost Trap thingy, the 2 in the box funding campaign and such like that from Hasbro. And a special message to Hasbro. Granted, you're just gonna sit on it and not really give us any updates until you decide that we're worthy of those updates. But it is my belief that as a backer, that I should be able to see project updates from somewhere online, maybe even through the Pulse website, like a status page that has like bullet point updates, nothing specific, drilled down, like, we're getting these types of screws, we're going to use this type of paint, blah, 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 nothing like that. Just, it's like, working on the door functionality. We're working on the PKE meter wing functionality. Bullet pointy stuff. Nothing major. We're entitled to that. So, yeah, and granted, you more than likely won't make that happen, but and speaking for all the backers, we would probably like that. So let's really make that happen. Thank you. So, anyhow, I loved the movie. It was really good. I very much enjoyed it. It was excellent to see the new folks. And, they're really good. And there was a nice balance between, the new folks, Callie Coon, I think her name was, McKenna, everybody. And the classics, the originals, the OG Ghostbusters. Yeah, they were all back. So, and it was really good to see them all. And their level of involvement sounds good. Yeah, you know, it's look at the actors. You know, they're at you know, they're getting older in age, and you take that and you put it in with the chronology of the Ghostbusters and stuff like that. Having them in there is fantastic. It was good to have their participation in it, and I was very, very happy with it, and I love the performances from everybody, and it was really, really good. So I will be more than happy to own the DVD for that. I'm going to be getting a hard copy of that because I have Afterlife, and there we go. Granted, I rip it so I could watch it on my Roku on my TV, but I want that physical piece because, yeah, that's the way to go, especially on entertainment that you really want to hold. Otherwise, just, you know, it's getting, you know, licenses from rentals or whatever, so, you know, rent them, whatever. Either do it on streaming services. If you want to own that way, perfectly fine, go ahead. But you want to balance it between which ones are important enough to you where you want the physical copy versus ones that aren't as important to you. You might want to consider, but you still want to own it. You might want to consider just the license on the streaming service for it, so that if it suddenly disappears one day, no great shakes. You just out the value that you paid for it. Yeah, it's like, yeah, you own it, but you really don't own it when it's only a license. So you gotta figure out that balance. So there we go. All right, so why don't we finish this up? Those are my stories that I've got going on for this edition of VLOGQuest. So you want to make sure you comment, like, and subscribe down below and everything like that. And you know, let me know you love me or hate me or whatever's me. So thank you very much for coming along. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope Hasbro gets that message and holds it to heart and follows through. So either way, I don't have much of anything else going on right now, so I've got ideas, but you know, I'm not in any rush to get anything done. But you know, it comes out when it comes out, and much like with anything Linux Mint, anything, you know, related, it gets released when it's ready. There you go. So thank you very much. We'll talk to you later. Skál and drink to victory.